So, today's a Geb comics drawing day, but I've already been working on this strip for many hours today, and I just got off a conference call about it. So, I'm going to take a little break and going to read a Wikipedia entry. Usonia. Usonian redirects here. From the alternative name for a United States citizen, see names for United States citizens and alternative terms. Actually, let's look at that right quick. Albert Bates likes to say USanians. I like that one. Alternative terms. The only officially and commonly used alternative, let's see. Demonyms for the United States? People from the United States of America are known as and refer to themselves as Americans. Different languages use different terms for citizens of the United States who are known in English as Americans. All forms of English refer to U.S. citizens as Americans, a term deriving from the United States of America, the country's official name. In the English context, it came to refer to inhabitants of British America and then the United States. However, there is some linguistic ambiguity over this due to the other senses of the word American, which can also refer to people from the Americas in general. Other languages, including French, Japanese, and Russian, use cognates of American to refer to people from the United States, while others, particularly Spanish and Portuguese, primarily use terms derived from United States. There are various other local colloquial names for Americans. The name America came from the Italian navigator Amerigo Vespucci. All right. Alternative terms. The only officially and commonly used alternative for referring to people of the United States in English is to refer to them as citizens of that country. Another alternative is U.S. American, also spelled U.S. American. Several single-word English alternatives for American have been suggested over time, including Usonian, popularized by Frank Lloyd Wright, and the nonce term United Statesian. Writer H.L. Mencken collected a number of proposals between 1789 and 1939, finding terms including Columbian, Columbard, Fredonian, Freddie, Unician, United Statesian, Colonican, Appalachian, Usian, Washingtonian, Usonian, Usian, Usian, Usican, and United Stateser. Nevertheless, no alternative to American is common in English. Names for broader categories include such terms as Western Hemispherian, New Worlder, or North Atlantican. Yankee, or Yank, is a colloquial term for Americans in English. Cognates can be found in other languages. Within the United States, Yankee usually refers to people from New England or the northern United States, though it has been applied to Americans in general since the 18th century, especially by the British. The earliest recorded use in this context is in a 1784 letter by Horatio Nelson. A Cockney rhyming slang and Australian derogatory term septic, and the Australian case seppo, derived from rhyming yank with septic tank. Ugh. All right. No, we're Americans. Deal with it. Usonian is a word that was used in by American architect Frank Lloyd Wright. Oh, let me get a chat window going here. Howdy. I'm from Arkansas. I can say that. Let's see. Usonian is a word that was used by American architect Frank Lloyd Wright to refer to the United States in general, in preference to America, and more specifically to his vision for the landscape of the country, including the planning of cities and the architecture of buildings. Wright proposed the use of the adjective Usonian to describe the particular New World character of the American landscape as distinct and free of previous architectural conventions. Usonian houses. Usonian usually refers to a group of approximately 60 middle-income family homes designed by Frank Lloyd Wright beginning in 1934 with the Wiley House, with most considering the Herbert and Catherine Jacobs first house, 1937, to be the first true Usonian house. Well, let's have a look at that. Oh, actually, no, just give me the pop-up. That'll be fine. Huh. Kind of looks like a shed or a pool house or something. All right. The Usonian homes are typically small, single-story dwellings without a garage or much storage. They are often L-shaped to fit around a garden terrace on unusual and inexpensive sites. They are characterized by native materials, flat roofs, and large cantilevered overhangs for passive solar heating and natural cooling. Natural lighting with clerestory windows and radiant floor heating. Another distinctive feature is that they typically have little exposure to the front/public side, while the rear/private sides are completely open to the outside. A strong visual connection between the interior and exterior spaces is an important characteristic of all Usonian homes. The word carport was coined by Wright to describe an overhang for sheltering a parked vehicle. Huh. The Usonia Historic District is a planned community in Pleasantville, New York. Built in the 1950s following this concept, Wright designed 3 of the 47 homes himself. Variants of the Jacobs House design are still in existence today. The Usonian design is considered among the aesthetic origins of the ranch-style house popular in the American West of the 1950s. In 2013, Florida Southern College constructed the 13th Wright building on their campus. According to plans that he created in 1939, the 1,700-square-foot building includes textile block construction, colored glass in perforated concrete blocks, Wright photographs, a documentary film about the architect's work at the school, and furniture designed by Wright. Named the Usonian House, it was originally designed as one of 24 faculty housing units. The building is home to the Sharp Family Tourism and Education Center, a visitor center for guests visiting campus to see the collection of Frank Lloyd Wright's buildings. The word Usonian appears to have been coined by James Duff Law, an American writer born in 1865. In a miscellaneous collection entitled Here and There in Two Hemispheres, Law quoted a letter of his own that begins, "We of the United States, in justice to Canadians and Mexicans, have no right to use the title Americans when referring to matters pertaining exclusively to ourselves." He went on to acknowledge that some author had proposed Usona, but that he preferred the form Usonia. Perhaps the earliest published use by Wright was 1927. But why this term America has become representative as the name of these United States at home and abroad is past recall. Samuel Butler fitted us with a good name. He called us Usonians and our nation of combined states as Usonia. However, this seems to be a misattribution, as there is yet no published evidence that Butler ever used the word. Usono is the name of the United States in Esperanto. The creator of Esperanto, L.L. Zamenhof, used the term in his speech at the 1910 World Congress of Esperanto in Washington, D.C., coincidentally the same year Wright was in Europe, but it was already well established by 1908, when Joseph Rhodes, a fellow of the British Esperanto Association and a member of the Lingua Comitato, published the English Esperanto Dictionary, which was based upon the Fundamento, the Esperanto literature, and the National Esperanto Dictionaries bearing Dr. Zamenhof's approbo. Jose F. Buscalia Salgado reclaims the term Usonian to refer to the people's national ideology and neo-imperial tradition of the United States of America. Miguel Torres Castro uses the term Usonian to refer to the origin of the Atlantic puffin bird used in the children's book Jupu the Puffin, a Usonian story. The bird is a puffin from Maine, USA. Usonian houses. Let's see. Let's just pick one at random. Bernard Schwartz House. Okay. There's the clerestories. Yeah, there's the overhang. John and Ruth Pugh House. Oh, it's kind of got a rough-hewn log cabin polish to it, or lack thereof. But yeah, there's the overhang. Wow, the overhang is low. Is that less than 6 feet high? Or are those just really tall dudes? Let's see. No photo. Yeah, okay, pretty standard. I'm getting the picture. The Pope Leahy House. Is that concrete block? What is that? Poured concrete? All right. I'm getting it. Ah. But I had all that on the wrong screen. You couldn't see any of it. All right. Back to drawing. All right. Here's a danger. You draw too many hours in one day, you start looking for the shortcuts. I mean, maybe that's a good thing. What layer am I on? I have too many freaking layers for sure. Character ink. Vector ink characters. Earlier in the day, I might have used a curve ruler to make it a nice, smooth, continuous curve. But today, or this time today, I'm over it. Well, except that one. It's pretty terrible. All right. We'll demonstrate that I'm a fake artist. That's not it either. There we go. And make her straight up and down. So I get very little feedback on the comic, but so far nobody has commented on the fact that Pix has a big nose and a flat chest and a not particularly glamorous hairstyle. Let's go back to the sketch layer. Oh, where is it? She also has thin lips. She's just the anti-voluptuous, hypersexualized female comic strip character, comic book character. All right, I will do her the one favor. Giving her a slightly longer nose. There we go. Let's see. Let's see, sketch there. Still nobody here. I'm all alone. All alone. It's all right. Mm. Oh, lordy, lordy. All right, I need a break from this. I know, from your perspective, I just started, but really, I've been drawing on this since like 8 o'clock this morning. So, let's read something. Or we could talk about haircuts. I want to get her... She's going to LA. I want her to get a haircut. I was thinking about that. The really short one. Or maybe that. Anyway, let's read something. What are we going to read? Silver Squeeze post goes viral on Wall Street Bets. You know, I joined Wall Street Bets, but I can't. It's like 4chan in that there's just so much, so much chit-chat and so much zero content. I don't really have the time to wade through it all and find the substantial stuff. Anyway, a few days ago, says Jay Handers, a few days ago I tweeted about a Silver Squeeze post I really liked on Wall Street Bets. When I saw that the post had recently been removed and the user banned, I reached out to Twitter to offer my assistance so that others here on Zero Hedge could see the user's post going forward given its popularity. So it got banned from Reddit and he reached out to Twitter? Oh, he reached out on Twitter. I see. When I saw that the post had recently been removed and the user banned, I reached out on Twitter to offer my assistance so that others here on Zero Hedge could see the user's post going forward given its popularity. The user, known as the Happy Hawaiian, responded via direct message, and I'm happy to announce we now have the post here on Zero Hedge for anyone to view, and where it won't risk being deleted, censored, or banned. I thought Reddit was a little bit more permissive, allowing people to talk about what they're interested in. I guess not. This, our Wall Street Bets user's first silver post, was cited as a contributing factor to the silly financial media-provoked silver surge we saw on February 1st, 2021 onwards. Physical silver subsequently sold out at retail locations across the country over that weekend, and that silver fever hasn't let up since. Silver bullion and PSLV, long silver, has only grown virally since. Physical silver premiums are still trading at $5 to $6 per ounce over the silver spot price, and large-scale silver bullion drains are ongoing in London and elsewhere. The Happy Hawaiian also wrote an open letter to Wall Street Bets users and mods, which I have included per his request, and which you can find here if you are interested. Interesting. Yes, it seems to be a link. It looks like just today, the WSB moderators have finally come to their better senses and reposted this viral Silver Squeeze Wall Street Bets post again. I now leave it below for you to read and enjoy here on Zero Hedge. The silver short squeeze is glaringly obvious to anyone paying attention to the data. The evidence is overwhelming. Just take a look for yourself. PSLV. What's PSLV? Edward, on Reddit, the moderators of individual subreddits have a lot of power to manage users and content. Ed, do you know what PSLV stands for? All caps, looks like an acronym. Anyway, back to it. First off, if you are long GameStop, this is not a post to tell you to sell GameStop. GME sequence of events. Yes, the game was rigged. We retail traders got screwed. GME is way overshorted. Greater than bankers allowed this. Greater than squeeze happens. Hedge fund lost tons of money and faced insolvency. Greater than, or maybe leads to. Citadel gives $3 billion to Melvin Capital, despite the fact they are supposed to be a neutral market maker, which gives rise to price keeps surging, leads to Melvin faces insolvency and will lose Citadel's investment. Citadel is no longer a neutral player, leads to clearinghouses get leaned on by powerful suits to raise margin requirements on game stock, leads to brokers will have to make up the losses of the shorts they allowed to occur, leads to they decide to save their own skin at the expense of their clients and rig the trade, leads to instead of going to thousands per share, as IBKR CEO admitted it would have, retail is robbed of billions in gains. Now onwards to the Silver Post. This is a very long post, so I apologize to the Wall Street Bets apes who can barely read and will have to scroll a long way to get to the TLDR. It's also been impossible to post about silver lately on WSB. No posts approved, thanks to the mod who assisted this one. So I crammed about 3 to 4 posts worth into this one. Not sure when I'll be allowed to post again. I've organized this post into 4 sections, so feel free to skip around to the parts you are interested in. 1. The silver short squeeze evidence. 2. Why the hedge funds are pushing silver narrative. Why the hedge funds are pushing silver narrative is BS. 3. The fundamental case for silver and why the shorts deserve to be squeezed. And 4. TLDR, what to buy if you want to go long on silver. Well, how about silver? Since my initial post on the potential for a silver short squeeze, I have been researching the topic to prepare a more detailed and substantiated update post. This is my latest attempt to post, and hopefully this one gets to stay up. Silver censorship has been a thing here lately. 1. The potential for a short squeeze. 573% of the float is currently sold short. The big thing to remember here is that if enough market participants who are long silver contracts in the futures market begin to demand delivery of their silver, there will absolutely be a melt-up in the price because there simply isn't enough supply available. The next 3 trading days are critical, and there is a war being waged. The shorts and COMEX are in a fight for their lives, barely hanging on by a thread. Let's see what Ed has to say. Is it an ETF? I don't know offhand. Sprott Physical Silver Trust ETV. Is ETV exchange traded vehicle? What's the V? Oh, lordy, let's close some tabs. Hey everybody, look at the new geb.io website. It has been updated. Bang around on it, check it out. The next 3 trading days are critical, and there's a war being waged. The shorts and COMEX are in a fight for their lives and barely hanging on by a thread. All right, what's COMEX? I must research, says Ed. Me too. I'm researching COMEX right now. As you can tell, I'm not a silver stacker or a gold bug or any sort of precious metals enthusiast. COMEX CME Group. COMEX CME Group is the world's leading and most diverse derivatives market, made up of 4 exchanges, CME, CBOT, NYMEX, and COMEX. Each exchange offers a wide range of global benchmarks across all major asset classes. COMEX is a designated contract market, offering products subject to COMEX rules and regulations. Joined CME Group with NYMEX in 2008. The merger expanded our suite of metals products to include several global benchmarks in precious, base, and ferrous metals. Woo, you metals people are just not language people, are you? That's some clunky-ass prose. Anyway. Many big-name precious metals veterans have bemoaned for years about how the size of the paper-silver market absolutely dwarfs the amount of silver that could be delivered, and thus the market is manipulated. The vast majority of futures and options contracts in the silver market have historically been settled via cash, meaning no physical silver is actually delivered when the contracts are set to expire. This is where the talk of the 100 to 1, 250 to 1 paper-silver to physical silver ratios come from. But short interest is actually more like 6 to 1 on the COMEX using open interest data through the next 2 big delivery months. Technically, every month is eligible for deliveries, but only months with options interest tend to have any real volume, and that's why they are known as delivery months. March and May are options expiration months, while April is not. If you want to think about it like a stock, the short interest is 573% of the float. This is based on the fact that over the next 3 months there are futures contracts and options which have the right to take delivery of 847 million ounces of silver. This is compared to the only 147 million ounces registered on the COMEX that could fulfill these deliveries. For perspective, the GameStop short interest peaked at around 140% of its float, and that was considered crazy high. It is widely known that if a small but significant share of long silver contract holders took delivery, that there would not be enough silver, as the demand would cascade higher and higher as the prices rise. Sources: Silver Stocks Report, Futures Open Interest, Options Open Interest. You know, I'm not going to continue with this unless somebody asks me to. Oh boy. Oh, what the heck, I'll continue. This would be similar to a bank run scenario. The COMEX is the silver bank, and they have printed too many paper claims on a limited amount of silver. If there is no actual silver left to be delivered to the holders of the futures contracts, that means that the COMEX would default and settle their contracts in cash. No one wants to get settled in cash if the COMEX had to default. This would mean that right as you would want to be able to stay long silver as the price is surging higher, that you will get forced out and paid cash instead of silver and wouldn't benefit from future increases in the price. The traders who want to stay long silver and who see the run occurring would try to take delivery, because if you actually have physical silver in your vault, then it doesn't matter if the COMEX goes down. You still have actual silver you can sell on the spot market. Most importantly to them, they get to keep participating in the upside. Now the shorts are very much trying to keep the price down at the moment because their problems get worse as the price rises and more options become in the money. That makes no sense to me. Let's try that again. Now, the shorts are very much trying to keep the price down at the moment because their problems get worse as the price rises and more options become in the money. Yeah, well. See the chart below with a handy arrow to illustrate where we are currently in terms of a March open interest. Okay. Let's just examine this sentence. So, Ed, I've just posted this very onerous sentence into the chat. Now the shorts are very much trying to keep the price down at the moment because their problems get worse as the price rises. That much I'm good with. People who have sold silver that they don't actually possess, or, paper versions of it, if they're called upon to make good on their paper versions of silver with actual silver, they're going to have to pay the amount, they're going to have to pay money out of pocket equivalent to the current market price of silver. So they want to keep the price down because the more they have to pay out, to settle these shorts, the more cash they're going to be out. But this last part, and more options become in the money. I can't even parse that. I don't get that. Ed, can you make sense of that sentence? Anyway. So here's a chart. Futures open interest, call option open interest. Ounces of silver represented. As the price rises more and more, the short interest grows as more options on futures contracts become in the money. This time he's used the phrase again, but now he's put it in single quotes. Whereas in the previous paragraph, or paragraph before last, where is it? Here. Now he's used the phrase, first he used it without quotation marks, so apparently it's some sort of idiom. And later on he acknowledges this by putting it in single quotes. Oh, the internet. Oh, the internet has really done a number on English, hasn't it? Anyway, as the price rises more and more, the short interest grows and more options on futures contracts become in the money. Compounding problems for the shorts. This is the silver version of a gamma squeeze. Okay, there's no point in me continuing with this. Okay. Ed writes, more options contracts start to have value. The options contracts have real value. They are in the money. They will not expire worthless. Options contracts that are out of the money have due intrinsic value. Is that have no intrinsic? The N is nowhere close to the D on the keyboard, so... No intrinsic value. Oh, okay. Options contracts that are out of the money have no intrinsic value. They are likely to expire worthless. Okay. Lowell, have to take a money theory class. Or maybe just hang out on Wall Street Bets for a week and look up all the acronyms and slang that they use. Oof. My incipient headache is it's picking up steam. It would probably not be a good idea to continue reading this thing, but as the price rises more and more, the short interest grows as more options on future contracts become in the money. Compounding problems for the shorts. This is the silver version of a gamma squeeze. As the price rises more and more, the short interest grows as more options on futures contracts become in the money. Compounding problems for the shorts. This is the silver version of a gamma squeeze. All right. This is supposed to be a break for me. It's turning into a taxing endeavor. Sellers of in-the-money contracts will have to honor them. I've been playing chess with Social Chess app. I'm Benarubber on there as well. I played some chess recently on Lee Chess. I don't know what my username is there. I might not even have one. I don't think you need a username or an account to play on Lee Chess. Hey, this is a book I've been listening to. I just started it this morning, in fact. So, let's get a review. Ooh, here's somebody who did not like it. Gilbert writes, before I read a negative review, can we get a... We get more of a neutral summary. Hate to do it, but let's go to Amazon. Your worldview will transform instantly. Salam Ismail, best-selling author of Exponential Organizations. We live in an extraordinary time. Technological advances are happening at a rate faster than our ability to understand them. And in a world that moves faster than we can imagine, we cannot afford to stand still. These advances bring efficiency and abundance, and they are profoundly deflationary. Our economic systems were built for a pre-technology era when labor and capital were inextricably linked, an era that counted on growth and inflation, an era where we made money from inefficiency. That era is over, but we keep on pretending that those economic systems still work. The only thing driving growth in the world today is easy credit, which is being created at a pace that is hard to comprehend, and with it, debt that we will never be able to pay back. As we try to artificially drive an economic system built for the past, we are creating more than just economic trouble. Our current path, our world, will become profoundly more polarized and unsafe. We need to build a new framework for our local and global economies, and soon we need to accept deflation and embrace the abundance it can bring. Otherwise, the same technology that has the power to bring abundance to us and our world will instead destroy it. In this extraordinary contrarian book, Jeff Booth, a leading mind and CEO in e-commerce and technology for 20 years, details the technological and economic realities shaping our present and our future, and the choices we face as we go forward. A potentially alarming but deeply hopeful situation. Okay, so there's like the publisher telling you about it. Is this time different? Most economists say no. We've adapted to many technological revolutions before. In contrast, Jeff says yes. And thus begins a journey of ideas as he takes the reader on a tour de force, making his case for why that's so, and sharing revelations from his personal relationships with tech industry leaders along the way. To harness the power of technology for good, we need to understand how it is linked to humanity. In a sweeping analysis that draws upon economics, science, innovation, politics, psychology, sociology, and business, Jeff offers an intriguing thesis predicated on the deflationary impact of technological advance coupled with increasingly easy credit. True to his impulse as an entrepreneur, a thinker, but also as a doer, he concludes with a call to action. Business leaders, entrepreneurs, policymakers, and youth committed to working towards a brighter future should read this book. Well, I'm none of those. Am I wasting my time? Anyway, now we'll read the negative review. Actually, now we'll read the chat. Ed writes, I would like to play Reversi/Othello against you, Ben Rubber. Yeah, I saw that. I added it to my reading list. I commented on your Patreon about it. Yeah, I saw that. We'll take in your comments in just a sec here. Never played those games. More complicated than chess? More simple than chess. Yes. Do I have a Patreon tab open? I do not. All right, let's go. Slow to read. Slow to load. All right. Ooh, that's interesting. Reminds me of a thought I had about technology and simplifying ecology or streamlining, flattening it for mechanized harvest. It's sort of like liquidating biodiversity into inanimate, quantifiable, abstract, or symbolic wealth. We've probably done that enough on Earth to the point where actual wealth is very little. I think if you listen to it quick, okay. That's just about returning the book. Looks relevant to the book I'm reading after Bowling Alone. Makes me want to plow through Bowling Alone. It did get more interesting just after halfway through. Apparently television is the greatest factor in civic disengagement. Fictitious Capital, How Finance is Appropriating Our Future. Ooh, by Cedric Durand. I'll click want to read on that one. From the title alone. Let's see. The 2007-8 credit crisis and the long recession that followed brutally exposed the economic and social costs of financialization. Understanding what lay behind these events, the rise of fictitious capital and its opaque logic, is crucial to grasping the social and political conditions under which we live. Yet for most people, the operations of the financial system remain shrouded in mystery. In this lucid and compelling book, economist Cedric Durand offers a concise and critical introduction to the world of finance, unveiling the truth behind the credit crunch. Fictitious capital moves beyond moralizing tales about greedy bankers, short-sighted experts, and compromised regulators to look at the big picture. Using comparative data covering the last 4 decades, Durand examines the relationship between trends, such as the rise in private and public debt and the proliferation of financial products, norms, such as our habitual assumptions about the production of value and financial stability, and the relationship of all this to political power. Fictitious capital offers a stark warning about the direction that the international economy is taking. Durand argues that the accelerated expansion of financial operations is a sign of the declining power of the economies of the global north. The city, Wall Street, and other centers of the power of money, he suggests, may already be caked with frosts of winter. Hey, I like that you've marked it as to be read. Daniel says, in this book, Cedric Durand borrows Marx's concept of fictitious capital from Capital, Volume 3, to explain the oft-discussed contemporary phenomenon of financialization. Fictitious capital encompasses a variety of financial instruments: bank credit, public debt, company bonds, and company stock shares. What all these have in common is that they are not valuable in and of themselves. Instead, they derive their value from the future profits that they promise to bring. Fictitious capital is valuable because it promises its owner a certain stake in the profits of a productive activity that the capital will be financing. But because fictitious capital's value is only a promise, a central problem arises. What happens when the promise can't be kept? The 2008 financial crisis is a perfect example for what happens when fictitious capital fails. Massive increases in unemployment, major contractions in economic growth, and the displacement of thousands from their homes. The consequences are catastrophic. Given the tenuousness of fictitious capital, Durand's investigation has central importance in understanding the potential pitfalls of the current economy. Since the 1970s, financial wealth in advanced industrial countries has been rising, while investment in fixed capital, that is, investing in real things that make useful stuff, has been stagnating or even declining. Therefore, the house of cards is being built higher and higher with less and less real stuff to back it up. Even though financial crises like the ones in 2008 momentarily stem the rise of fictitious capital, the historical trend shows that even the most devastating crisis since the Great Depression cannot stop the ascendance of finance. Durand demonstrates how the buildup of fictitious capital is increasingly putting a burden on the 99% to the benefit of the rich. While financial institutions use huge sums of debt for risky gambling, their losses fall upon the government and thus the average taxpayer. Financial institutions know that they have guarantors in the government and the central bank, and can call upon the public to cover their losses when things go sour. Due to both increased public debt from necessary Keynesian policies and the interest rates paid on government bonds, the taxpayer is increasingly forced to provide financiers with their profits. Something Durand should be applauded for is his insistence that fictitious capital is not completely autonomous from the production process. Too many commentators observing the increasing digitization of financial processes have made this claim, that finance has become completely disconnected from anything real. But if this were true, then there would be no reason for financial bubbles to ever pop, because there would be no real value to pull prices downwards. So then, how is fictitious capital accumulating in a seemingly autonomous way, despite the fact that there's less and less real production to back it up? Durand's answer is globalization. Instead of reinvesting domestically, financial capital is reaching towards cheap labor sources abroad that have opened up with the disintegration of the Soviet Union and China's integration into the world market. The real accumulation is happening in developing countries in the global south, while investment continues to stagnate in the countries that actually hold fictitious capital. Therefore, financial wealth expanding in the global north is backed by development of foreign industry, a wealth that is increasing its exploitation of workers more and more. Marx's notion of fictitious capital is woefully under-theorized, and it's impressive that Durand is capable of making so much out of it. By supplementing Marx with post-Keynesian economics, Durand hits the most important concern of every Marxist. By supplementing Marx with post-Keynesian economics, Durand hits the most important concern of every Marxist: the impact of capitalism's developments on the working class. This is precisely why his tracing of financial accumulation to real production in the global South is so important. Durand does not read the financial world from the bourgeois perspective of the investor, but rather from the perspective of working class people who bear the burden of neoliberalism's and Wall Street's losses. There seems to be little hope that we'll break out of the cycle of financial crises that Hyman Minsky described so presciently, but analyses like Durand's are the prerequisite for ever reaching that goal. Yeah, I'll give that a like. It's well written, if nothing else. Oh, what have I got? Discovered it from Chris. How do you pronounce that last name? Smahi? He referenced fictitious capital in Small Farm Future. KMO, I sent you via Twitter DM a video of my cherry shrimp eating broccoli. It has a few seconds of Vangelis music, which means I can't play it. I can't share it here on the stream. I could mute it. Let's do that. Via Twitter, you say? Could you please play that short Wallstead tank video on your live stream? Well, I've got to mute it. It's already muted. Okay, there we go. All right. What do shrimp and KMO have in common? They both like broccoli. Very nice. Dare I? Oh, okay. They're both from Better River. All right, yeah, I'll see about getting Jeff on. All right. How you're saying it, but the J sounds like the J in jelly. Oh, smudgy? Smudgy? That was someone who interviewed him on a podcast. Thank you for playing that. You're welcome, Ed. You are welcome. All right. Where was I? What was I reading? Let's close that. I read that. Didn't I? Oh, we were going to read some negative reviews of Paying for Tomorrow. Is that what it's called? No, that is a different book. It's not the title of the book I'm reading. Alexa, what's the title of the most recent Audible book I was listening to?
Your library has 112 Audible titles. Some recent ones include The Price of Tomorrow, The Tyranny of Merit,
Alexa,
and
stop.
Losing Military...
All right. All right, so Gilbert really didn't like it. 2 out of 5 stars. Important topic, overstretched amateur analysis. This could have made a respectable long-form status update, maybe an article. So why then, like so many business books, was it artificially inflated to bursting point? Much like the debt-fueled economies Booth warns of, we'd be better settling for less. Technology-driven deflation promises to be a fascinating topic. I kept reading, hoping Booth would show off something new. He tries on all sorts of themes, from Maslow to AI, none giving a satisfactory fit or offering anything novel. It's like he wrote it with a checklist of ideas he'd encountered on a recent binge of long LinkedIn posts. And that perhaps is where this and most other business books belong. I used to have a LinkedIn account and then I deleted it. I didn't like the culture of LinkedIn, so not there. Here's another 2-star review. The premise of the book is that technological advancement creates an environment such that the cost of production and goods naturally falls over time. Not only that, but this natural deflationary pressure is increasing due to the pace of technological innovation. And so, if governments wish to continue printing money in an attempt to stimulate economies and create jobs, they'll have to do so at an increasing rate, receiving increasingly little in return per currency unit printed. Sticking to the current economic game plan will require printing a destabilizing amount of money and taking on untenable levels of debt. Why not, asks Booth, simply embrace deflation? Unfortunately, this is about the extent of the argumentation. Had the premise received the treatment it deserved, this would certainly have been an interesting read, but as the other reviewers here have noted, the book could easily have been distilled into a blog post. I agree, but I think the verdict is actually worse. Booth's premise is hamstrung by the evidence he offers as support. Reading like the Cliffs Notes for Ray Kurzweil, the bulk of the book lists example after example of technologies that have been just around the corner for the last 10 years. That's fine, but then tell readers why. No, now these technologies are really just about to break out. No such evidence is given. That the book feels like it could have been published a decade ago with hardly an anachronism to tip readers off ultimately functions as evidence not of technological deflation, but of Peter Thiel's argument that there's much less innovation going on than Silicon Valley's boasts lead on. Although Thiel's own tagline on this theme, "We wanted flying cars, instead we got 140 characters," was that Thiel or was that David Graeber? Has of course been proven wrong in the fullness of time. In a doubling of productivity, we now have 280 characters. Oh, well, here's an interesting list of videos and podcasts. I'll have to find some way around the Apple portion of that. All right. Smodgy. Okay. I've got to get back to drawing. Actually, I've got to refill my coffee and then get back to drawing. All right, I'm back. All right, let's get some character tones, all right? Someday AI will be able to do this for me. Let's see. Facial lighting reference. Good. Images. Here, I'll show you all what I'm looking at. I think that one's a pretty good representation of what I'm looking for right here. Yeah. So. There. So just know that that's on my other screen as I shade this character. Character tones. Let's highlight the skin tone. Oh, and it reveals that there's some missing. So let's deselect. Have that tone. There we go. Let's try that again. Oh, there's still some missing. Yeah. Okay. One more try. All right, and we got some missing up here. Damn. Okay. That was supposed to be pure white. There we go. All right, now I'm going to pop over and see who posted what. I avoided looking at my options positions yesterday. I was scared. I have a diagnosis of avoidant personality disorder, but I looked today and started taking care of business. Would you care to provide a semiotic analysis of bangs as a female haircut style? Semiotic analysis. No. No, I am entirely unqualified to do that. All right. One goes up, the other goes down. All right. Now let's zoom in here. Very nice. And look at that. There's some white space down there. All right. All right, there we go. All right, I have one more panel to draw, and that is this one. And it looks something like that, but I think I have a sketch somewhere. Yeah. All right, have you ever heard of Geb? Have you ever heard of Geb? Alrighty, what do we got in the comments? Ed says, bangs strike me as severe. A woman who has that straight line horizontal haircut above her brow is saying, I am not flowing and free and casual. I am well organized and in control. All right, Ed. Let me just offer you one data point and have you incorporate it into your semiotic analysis. And that data point is... oh, it's B-E-T-T-I-E. Okay. Let's start with this one. Oh, she died. When was that? Oh, wow. Way back in 2008. You know, I got to this page following an image, and the image doesn't seem to appear on the page. I call foul on that. Anyway, here, how about this image? Wow. So there's Betty Page in her luxurious bangs. Or... there's a fun one. What do you say to that, Ed? Oh, there's a good one. All right. Enough Betty Page. Well, you can never really get enough Betty Page, but I will return to my drawing. Actually, this one, nah, I'll leave it at that. this is where we're working. Alrighty, so this is Derek over here. Oh, I don't mean to erase. What's that about? Here's Derek over here. Fine. Whoops. Does not have a chin. But he does have simulated cheekbones. Betty Page had a dominatrix strain to her persona. I feel confirmed in my Bang analysis. Really? Okay. Yeah. I won't dispute you. I'll just ask you to expand on it. Let's see. Let's put this back on the big screen. Oh, wrong way. This one. So have a look, or do your own search. But Asian women pixie haircut. So some have bangs, or even jagged bangs. Some have, and this is what Pix's haircut kind of looks like right now, except this person also has bangs. Let's see. Well, anyway, I don't know what you'd call these. Forelocks is what they'd be if they were curly and on a Jewish dude's head or an Orthodox dude's head. But whatever these spikes are, I mean, I kind of took these from Motoko Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell, but mostly the comic book, not any of the animated versions where they're live action. But you can see some of these have bangs, and others we sweep to the side. Right now, what Pix is sporting is a combination of the two, but she also has long hair and back. It's kind of a mullet thing going, and she's going to get rid of that in LA. And I'm thinking of giving her a haircut like that. What do you think of that? Or this. Or do I leave the spiky forelocks and just take off the hair and back? But she kind of has bangs. All right. A solid podcaster move. What? Tell me more. What? What are you talking about, Ben Rubber? All right. One more image of Pix for today. It's the stuff down here that she's going to get cut off in LA. Where's the dialogue in this one? Oh, there's not much. Okay. Wait, more. Yeah. Okay. Character ink. Nope, vector ink characters. The statement about Bang's stifling flow sounded like it didn't jive with your view. I was caricature paraphrasing you. What? Tell me more. Right thumb often hits the send button prematurely in the YouTube chat. Right thumb? Huh. Are you on a phone or are you on a computer? All right. On my phone, yes. My daughter is making cornmeal muffins. I am well and truly blessed. True that. I concur. The temperature here today is in the 40s Fahrenheit, which is miraculous compared to recent weather. So I'm probably going to quit in about half an hour and walk to the store. So I'm just drawing in ink here. I didn't really think through my drawing. Oh boy, words are running out. What do we got here? She's using vanilla that I bought in Mexico and smuggled past the TSA. Oh, you criminal. You criminal. Ed with his contraband Mexican cinnamon. Oh my God. Oh, not cinnamon, vanilla, even worse. Today I heard the radio people talking about Puerto Rico attracting more and more wealthy USanians. Apparently it has tax haven attributes. Yes, it does. If you are a U.S. citizen, you don't have to pay any federal income tax if you live in Puerto Rico. But above and beyond that, they have even more incentives for cryptocurrency-based businesses or online businesses. They'll give you a sweet tax deal. Oof, it's too fat. Try that. There we go. So, Ed, you thought that saying that to me was going to get me to go chase down the specifics of those tax incentives, right? And stop drawing. But as I've already mentioned, I need to go to the store. I don't need to go to the store. I need to get outside because it is nice for once and walk while the sun is still out. So I will avoid the temptation to go to Wikipedia or wherever. But let me encourage you to do so because, yes, well, I mean, you can't go. You're not a United States citizen. Now you can go. You just won't get the tax benefits. Nah. All right. Let's go to, let's get in the sketch. Character tones. Tunic is the easy part, so we'll start with that. So this really stuck with me. Maybe this will be some indication of my personality or character or whatever, but I saw that somebody had posted a question somewhere, and I don't even remember where it was. Maybe Twitter, Facebook, I don't know. I don't even know how long it's been. It's just been like a splinter in my mind for many years now. Somebody asked, when you're cutting your fingernails, do you cut the nails on your right hand first or your left hand first? And the people answering were all of one mind. At least the right-handed ones. They said, I cut my right hand nails first. I do the hard part first. Well, I do the opposite. I start with the clippers in my right hand because that is my natural inclination. And then, after my left nails have been shortened, I put the clippers in my left hand and go for the right fingernails. So what? Well, what's it relate to? It relates to some advice given to would-be comic book artists by Dave Sim, the author and creator of Cerebus. And he said, when you're facing that big old blank page, do the easy parts first. Do the stuff that you know how to do to begin with, and then make the hard parts a surrounded problem so that you're not overwhelmed, by the hard part, or so that you don't start with the hard part and have trouble with it and get discouraged. Do the part you know how to do easily first. And that makes good sense to me. And that's typically how I approach a comic page. The panels where it's just the characters' faces, familiar characters, I don't need reference or anything like that. I usually do that stuff first. Although here I am doing that exact sort of panel last in this instance. It will be a nice day to walk outside. Pink. Erase. Come on. There we go. Oh, what the heck was that? There we go. Oh, way too big of a line. Let's try that. Ooh, not like that. Nope. Nope. What else do those radio people have to say today, Ed? Were these the CBC radio people, or were these the NPR radio people? Ah, 4 p.m. What have we here? I listen to BBC World Service, WNYC, and some CBC. You don't listen to Vermont Public Radio anymore? Gone down to the Empire State? The Empire City of the Empire State? Oh, lordy, lordy. You know what I heard on Rising today? Al Jazeera is starting a new U.S.-based news network, and the new one is going to be conservative. Which is funny because, you know, Al Jazeera America is famously liberal, and it was always a favorite whipping boy of the right wing. My Google Home speaker is no longer able to serve me Vermont Public Radio. Huh. I asked for it and it only wants to give me VPR Classical. That's a bummer. My local radio people said that the Quebec government is considering extending Bill 101 to CEGEPS. I don't know that word. Currently, access in English education at primary and secondary school level is very restricted, so as to promote the French language in Quebec. The level between high school and university is CEGEP. Huh. Between high school and university? Interesting. Is that like community college? All right. But the Quebec government wants to start restricting access to English. CEGP. How do you say that? Kegeps? Kegeps? CEGEPS. CEGEPs too. CEGEPs. Okay. Are either vocational training or university preparation. It's a 2-year college. So like community college here in the U.S. Gotcha. So technically, I guess this is the background, but I'm still doing it on the character tones layer. This is her seat back. Ooh. Also, the federally run forced quarantine hotels for international travelers started 2 days ago, and predictable, we have a lot of shit show type reports coming out of them. Predictably. When the Minister of Transport said that they might start as early as February 4th, I cut my Mexico trip 10 days short, but in the end, they actually started February 22nd. I felt manipulated by him. No, sir, I did not like it. No, sir, I don't like it. Who said that? I'm thinking that's from Ren and Stimpy. No, sir, I don't like it. What's that from? Oh, going there. Horseman from Ren and Stimpy says that. Yep, okay. Sweet. Yeah, did you ever watch BoJack Horseman? I've heard so many people who just swear by it and say it's the greatest thing ever, and I've only seen the first episode, but it didn't really grab me. But I know a lot of shows need a few episodes, to find their footing. So I'd be willing to give it another go. Nope, can't work like that. Let's go like that. I checked out season 1, episode 1 of Westworld and stopped at about 20 minutes in. The Blu-ray for Mr. Robot is sitting on my coffee table. I really enjoyed the first season of Mr. Robot, and then I never watched the second season. The first season had such a complete ending, it just didn't seem to need any more. But maybe I'll watch the second season someday. As for Westworld, I'm afraid to say, if you didn't like the first episode, don't stick with it, because it gets a little bit worse with each season. Season 1 is clearly far and away the best season. And all the stuff they tease in it, that pays off later, the payoff isn't anywhere near the setup. Which is often the case. It's a hard thing, but no, I would not recommend it. I mean, the final season was just absurd. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Kind of like Game of Thrones in that respect. Like, it really, really lost its mojo. Oh, the sun is... It's not dark out, but the direct sunlight is over. What do we got? Hey, it's Dryland Fish. Oh, let's see. I will resume listening to the audiobook 8 Days at Yalta, about the conference between Stalin, Roosevelt, and Churchill that set up the post-World War II paradigm. He spoke about later seasons of Westworld. Seems like there was some interaction between you two that I'm not seeing here. I intend to add some sparkling gourami fish to my Wallstead tank. Yo. Yo, says Dryland Fish. Yo, right back at you. Alrighty, it's kind of darkish and real dark. And now, foreground to background. Oh, that's not what I meant to do at all. Let's try the background tones there. There we go. Yeah. But more. Yes, like that. And we are keeping KMO company while we watch him make the Geb comic. Yep. True that. And I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. But I'm going to bail. I'm going to walk to the store. Alexa, what's the temperature?
Right now, it's 44 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, glorious.
Tonight, expect a low of 34 degrees.
Glorious.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Come on. All right, $112 in my PayPal account. I can go crazy at the grocery store. It's 420, man. You should stop precisely at 420. Well, it's 419 for the magic effect. I'm actually fresh out of the 420, and I don't plan to restock anytime soon. I'm going to see if I can muster up the discipline to do some writing in the evenings. Nearly 70 degrees Fahrenheit today. Crazy after the ice. Dang. I hope we get some of that. All right. Well, it is now exactly 4:20 according to my computer, so I am going to stop. But thanks, Ed, and Dryland Fish. I'll be back tomorrow.